Hi, Neil here with Covers Camo, your source for custom seat covers. Today we're doing the install on the 2011 Ram 1500. An awesome looking set, charcoal soft touch, diamond stitch for the insert, black soft touch trim, loaded up with the headrest logos with the elk. Awesome looking set. Let's do this install. All right, so we're getting started on this install. This is the 2011 Ram 1500, 40-20-40 front seats. It's the crew cab, so we'll be doing the back seats as well. And first thing that we're gonna do is the 20 section. It has a 3-piece 20 section top, backrest, and bottom. This is a non-storage bottom section here. And then we'll do the passenger seat, which is the same as the driver's seat. I've actually already installed the driver over here, but what we'll do is the 20 section first. So if your seat configuration does not have a 20 section middle seat like this, you may want to skip forward in the video just to jump to a bucket seat so you can see how to install that. But we'll get started with this 20 section first. So what I'll do is grab the first cover. And let's see here, so should be the lid right here. So it's gonna go over the top, have some Velcro on it, strap down. Again, it's a 3-piece cover because there's gonna be a back or there's gonna be a top, a backrest, and a bottom to this. Just kind of figuring out which one's the front side of this. Sometimes it's kind of tricky to tell. And each one is labeled so you can see top, back, and bottom. This one's pretty close. I think we got a little bit more of a curve here towards the front. First, I'll just kind of stretch it into place, and it has elastics around this, so you can first kind of just fit it on before you do the Velcro. But then once you got it into place like that, now we're going to want to strap up this Velcro here. It's a pretty simple top piece to put on there. I'll just make a few little adjustments. There's kind of this extra material that is inside the seam where it's sewn that I like to line up. It's just a small little extra thing. You don't have to do that. Main thing is just pull this over, strap up that Velcro. Alrighty, so there's the lid right here. So that one's done. Now what we're gonna do is get the 20 section backrest on. Pull that over a little bit more right there. What I'm gonna do here is just get it kind of lined up to the seam right there, to that top edge lined up, and then I'm gonna finish pulling through the rest of the fabric to get the rest of the excess out. That's doing pretty good right there. The edge there, you don't need to have it coming too far over. If you get too much fabric over over, it can get kind of tight to close your console. So I don't like to roll too much of the fabric over. I want it to be right up to the edge though, to get as much coverage as possible. Alrighty, so that's good there. Our backrest is covered now, so that one's on. Now we're going to move to the 20 section bottom. Again, this is a 20 section non-storage bottom. If it was a storage bottom, we would have a lid on the front and it would lift up right there. But this is a non-storage, so there's non-moving, no storage space underneath it. And so this particular cover will have Velcro on it that you'll just stick down. There's some carpet down underneath this that you can just push down and stick to it. Now it is going to have some straps or some slots for the seat belts here, so we will need to get the seat belts out. What I'm going to do is take them out of the factory slots. There's these little flat factory elastics that keep them there. But the seat cover now will take place of that. Let's see, what I'm going to try here is, sometimes I like doing this, turn the seat cover inside out and fit it down first and then roll it over. Okay, so here's one seat belt. It's the center receiver right here. Here's the male end. Okay, we're going to push this fabric through. And it has Velcro on the back there as well. That's going to stick to carpet on the back here. Got that pulled through there now. Now what we'll do is take this and flip the cover back around now. Okay, so there's this Velcro here, and there's some carpet down on the bottom side of the seat. And before I stick that down, I'm going to try to make sure that this is all smooth where I want it before I stick that Velcro down. That goes for all of these, is you try to make sure the cover's nice and smooth and in place before you stick the Velcro, or else you're having to unstick it and reposition. And I'm actually going to stick this one in the back here first, just because I think it's going to keep the cover in place where I want it. I'll show you a close-up on the back side here in a little bit. Okay, I have that stuck down on the back now. Now this may be a time where I'm going to use my handy dandy install tool and these little sticks. Now you technically could unbolt this bottom plastic piece, and to do that you just need to take off, there's this little plastic kind of dirt stopper. And there's 2 bolts. You could unbolt this piece. And it would make this a little easier. But you don't have to. The cover is designed where you can just tuck this in down here. Okay, so that's all tucked in there, nice. Just takes a little time. Takes a little time to get that all tucked in. And then these corners just a little extra, a little tight as you get it in there. But that's all going good. Now what I'll do is finish this out by taking this Velcro over here and sticking this down. Again, just pulling that nice and tight on the sides here, reaching down, sticking that onto the carpet right there. Nice. Do that same thing over here. Then, after you do that, the 20 section will all be done, looking good, and then we can move on to the passenger seat. So as promised, here's a few close-ups on this install that I'm doing right now. There's some of the Velcro that we first did underneath there. And here's some of that close-up on the Velcro right here. That's that back Velcro coming through the back side. Here's the cross Velcro there. Here's the front of this cover. Okay, and then here's this part that I was taking a little while doing. I was tucking this in right there. Again, it just pushes in and there's carpet underneath there. So you just push that down, stick it to the carpet down there. There's that side. And I'll show you on the back side here as well what this looks like. So here's that 20 section bottom I was pushing in, stuck that in right there. All right, we're doing the passenger bottom now. Here's the cover for it. Here's the underside with the foam, fire retardant foam there. And this one, there's the drawstring around the outside right here. I'm just gonna untie those, get it ready here, and start getting this cover into place. Now, one thing you're gonna wanna do on the bottom is there is a rear flap. It's called a seat bib, and that needs to be released. So what you'll do is actually just reach on the back side of the seat, and there's a little hook underneath. You just reach under the seat and unhook that. I'll show you on a close-up here in a little bit, but you just remove that seat bib because then we're going to push material through. I'm just going to start fitting this cover into place here. Now for this section right here, you are going to want to use your trim tool, the provided trim tool, and we're going to tuck it in on that section right there. Now on the driver's side, I did a little video of a seat repair because the driver's side was all blown out. It was torn up pretty bad. Okay, I'm pushing this through right here. Now this ram's not too bad, but some trucks, man, this is really tight back here on this section as you're pushing that through. So if it gets really tight on you, then grab a plastic bag and wrap the plastic bag around that section of material that you're pushing through, and then push it through, because that bag just really decreases the friction as you push that through right there, and helps a lot. Okay, so we're gonna push through these straps as well. Not the strings though, not the drawstrings. These are gonna stay on the outside I'll show you what to do with those, but straps are gonna go through. Manual seats here, so not a lot of cables and cords that we're worried about in this install, which is kind of nice. Okay, so got that there. Now I'm gonna tuck this piece in right here. And then using the trim tool, I'm gonna take that and push this in like that right there. Perfect. This all gets snugged down a little bit tighter once we get those straps and buckles in. Just gonna move that seat back for a second, make sure I got these all lined up. Right there, and push through. Yes, everything's looking good. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is take this outside string. This is the hardest part of the seat bottoms, I think. And we're gonna take this right here, and on this manual seat, it's really not too bad, but we're gonna pass this drawstring on the outside of the seat cushion, but on the inside of this plastic housing right here. And you're gonna push that through. And then we're gonna reach underneath and grab that. When you push this seat cushion in a little bit more, you kind of aim this string a little bit better as you're passing it down. I think I found a better location to drop that down. Let's see if I can. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so there's the string now passed through on the inside of this plastic, but on the outside of the seat cushion. So then it's going to be a hidden drawstring going on the inside right there. We'll get this all wiped up. It's easy to wipe up. But okay, so it's getting kind of dusty in here as my hands are getting underneath here, but it's all good because this is the sim leather, the easiest material to clean. So we'll be able to just take a microfiber cloth at the end of this, get it all looking good for the photos. So that's okay. So that's passed through right there. We're gonna end up tying this string off to the back. But before we get ready to do that, I'm gonna take this string here. This goes on the outside of the seat belt. Okay, and there's this Velcro right here. I'm gonna take that Velcro and stick it to the outside of the seat, just below the seat belt. Kind of on the inside of the seat belt, actually. There, okay. So then I'm gonna take this string, pass it on the outside of the seat belt towards the back. Okay. Now we're ready to go to the back side and fasten up a few things back there and get it pulled back. You're gonna see as I pull this back, it's gonna pull out some of that slack right there. On the back side now. Just give it a nice tight pull. And that's all looking nice and even on the back side right now. Okay. I actually think I pulled a little too much there at the end. So I want this to be lined up right here and not too much farther back. Okay, I'm just pulling that front down, making sure this front edge should really line up with the front edge of the seat right here. So if you have that front edge pulled too far down or too far back, then readjust the cover so that goes up to the front right there. Okay, so far looking good. Now we just need to get those straps, the drawstring tied off on the back, straps passed underneath to the buckles. We're gonna tighten that up back there. So I'm on the back side underneath the seat right now, and I have one drawstring right here and the other one here, and I've tied a noose right here on one of them so I could loop through it and then tighten this up like that. So now I'm gonna tighten that up, pinch it with one hand, take my other hand and tie that off. Okay, and where I have these passed through is right above the track. Okay, so it's kind of right on the metal track just above it, so the seat can still slide forward and back And this one just same spot right there. So we're gonna tie that off and then we'll do our straps. Now to do the straps, this middle strap is the locking safety strap that locks down the back portion of the seat. So you actually go from, this strap goes underneath to a solid bar. So I actually felt and grabbed a solid, there's these little bars that run across the seat. They're actually your springs, okay? And I'm going to one of those and then back to itself right here, back to that buckle right there. And that's gonna lock down, and that locks the back side of the seat cover so it never slides forward. Okay, so I got that locked in. That's never gonna slide forward. That's stuck there now. Now the outside straps, I've passed those forward. They're gonna go to buckles and cinch those buckles down now. Now on the front side, I reached underneath, took those straps, went to the buckles, cinched that down on both sides. I compress with one hand here, pushing here, take the other hand, pull the strap tight. That just gets a nice tight finish over the seat right there. Now, before we are completely done with the back seat and tie up that bib on the back, we need to do the backrest, because the backrest seat cover is going to connect onto some Velcro that's on the top portion of this bottom seat cover. And first thing we'll do for the backrest, to get that on, you need to take out the headrest, and you need to push down 2 buttons right here on both sides at the same time, and that's going to lift the headrest out. All right, I've been pulling this backrest cover over. Here's the front side with the felt that's going to push through. This felt is actually what's going to stick onto Velcro that's on the top side of the bottom seat cover. That'll make sense here in a second. And use your trim tool to tuck this around right here, because that's how you want to get these to finish out, okay? Tucked underneath this headrest post section like that. Take this front felt and push that through the crack in the seat backrest and bottom. Just push it through right there. Now we're on the back side. So here's this felt that we just pushed through right here. And now what we're gonna do is stick that to the Velcro. So this is the bottom seat cover right there. And we're gonna take this felt and stick it on, give it a nice tight pull, and stick it on to that Velcro right there. And then once that's done and you've checked the front to make sure that everything's looking good, then you can take this seat bib again, pull this back down and hook that back. Here's these clips right here. And you hook that back to a solid metal spring underneath. As you're doing that, just kind of roll this in right here and then take the seat bib and cover that so then you don't see that on the outside. Now that I've finished that, I've stuck this down. This has Velcro on it. You stick it down to that seat bib right there. Pull that nice and tight, tuck it in. Any loose straps or strings, tuck those up underneath the seat so you're not gonna see those from the outside. And backrest is all done. Now it's time to move on to the headrest. All right, here's the headrest cover. We have the elk logo on this one. And we are gonna turn this inside out a little bit because these headrest covers are really snug tight. So we're gonna turn that inside out like that to start fitting this on. And you're gonna have to take one hand or even a knee and really compress this headrest down. So maybe get onto a spot where you're like on carpet. You really compress that in as you're pulling the headrest on. And having this partially inside out like that will help because we'll pull it over like that first, and then once we have it maxed at the top right there, matching up, then we'll unroll some of this and then stick that together. So as you can see, I'm really compressing this down. I'll push a knee on it and even my other hand and compress that in as I pull it there. I'm switching sides. I'll pull one side for a little while, and then I'll pull the other side here. Now I'm going to start to roll this over here. right, and now what I'll do is just continue to massage that down. Make sure I'm pulling out any slack that's left in the top up here. Okay, then when you're done here, you can just take this and stick that together. But I need to continue to get some more slack out. As I was saying, these are some of the most snug headrests on this particular pattern here. So I gotta keep working that down. I got a little more slack here that I need to get out. Pull that down here. Alrighty, so here's the finished cover. It is a tight bugger, as I was saying, but goes on nice and looks good there. So now we can stick that back in. The front seats are all done. Now we're gonna move to the back seats. All right, so we're in the rear seats now, and it's a solid backrest, a solid bottom seat with a center arm, or this seat belt right here. First thing you need to do is take this backrest cover and put it underneath this seat belt like this, so you don't cover that seat belt. Okay, pretty common thing. I see people trying to install it over the seat belt. Pull that out first. Pull out all your straps as well. There's gonna be quite a few different straps, and these headrest post sections, that'll be the very first thing we're gonna start to do, because that's gonna keep the cover in place as we install the straps and everything else. So we're gonna start using the trim tool and getting those headrest posts, these headrest cutouts around those headrest post sections. The bottom we'll do later, but it's all one solid bench, and that's just gonna slide over and strap on. All right, so I have these connected up there. I have the seat belt on the outside. These straps are now ready to pass down the back side of the seat. They're gonna go down to buckles down right here, okay? And we're gonna strap those up. Now there's these seat belts, okay, that the seat belt receivers, those start from the floorboards, okay? So you're not gonna have any seat belt pieces that are you know, like slots, no seatbelt slots here, because they actually just pass through between the seat crack right there. So no slots for the seatbelts, because they'll just go through here, because they start from the floorboard. And we're gonna just take these straps and pass these straps down the back side. Here's the biggest tip as you're doing this. When you start to pass these down, what creates the biggest space to start passing them down is when this seat is in the up position right here. That's where you're gonna have the biggest gap to kind of pass all of these straps down the back side, okay? Now, but when you are actually tying up the straps to the buckles underneath here, to get more space for your hands underneath, it actually creates a little bit more space if you bring the seat to a lower, like a 45-degree angle, or to the down position, but you do have to be underneath here, so you can't have it in the full down position. But definitely put it in the up position when you start to drop these straps down. All right, so once you have that strapped up underneath there, what we're gonna do is there's these side elastics right here, and both sides have this elastic, and that's just to keep these kind of side wings in. And two ways you can do it. You can either take some extra string. If you have a long enough string, what you can do is reach behind and tie those two elastics to each other on the back side of the seat. Or what I'm doing today is, if you don't want to use the string, you could just take this elastic and tie it off to one of those straps and buckles that are cinched up already. And so that way you can just do that without having to tie it across. Tying it across is kind of nice if you have enough string, because then you can just like loop it around and then get it to your desired tightness. I think it's a little easier to tie off than this, but today I'm just going to tie it off to one of those straps and buckles underneath here. Thanks for watching this video. Again, this has been Neil here with Covers and Camo, your source for custom seat covers. To see more, go to coversandcamo.com.
coverscamo.com. We have a lot of cool sets that we've built up there that you can see, photos, videos, different sets you can build there. We offer seat covers for trucks, Jeeps, cars, SUVs, and UTVs. So if you have a vehicle you're thinking about getting seat covers on, you need to go over to coverscamo.com. We look forward to building you an awesome set today. Go to coverscamo.com. Thanks.